This unit covers a conversion of the same base units. We'll cover conversions involving different base units, for example, meters to miles, inches to centimeters, in a part 2. So a common source of confusion in conversions of the same base units is knowing how to use this table. So when you're identified the units you begin with and your goal units, how do you set up your conversion table? That's the goal for today. So let's say we had the following problem, converting meters to decameters. Our first step is to create a cheat sheet. This lays out all the prefixes with the base having no prefix. So for example, we have meters in this question stem, which has no prefix attached to it, unlike decameters, and so that is our base. Other examples of our base units is going to be grams, liters, meters, and a common mnemonic for memorizing this chart involves King Henry. So it goes, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. I'm sure you've heard of it before. And I like to think it refers to King Henry VIII of England, who was famous for having 6 wives, but was also known to be moderately obese. So ODing on chocolate milk might be down his alley. So once you've laid out the cheat sheet, label each unit as 10 times higher than the other. So for example, each kilo is 10 hectas, and 1 hecta is equal to 10 decas, and then so on and so forth. Then we're going to identify the starting units, so in this case meters, and then the goal units, decameters. After that, identify how many tens are between them. So in this case it's just 10, and we're going to use this value in a bit. Step 2 is setting up your conversion table. The top left corner always receives what you're starting out with, so your original units. Bottom right corner will be the same units as your original, and the top right will be the goal units. So in our scenario, the 52.6 meters is our original. The bottom right corner receives the same units as the top left, so meters, and the top right corner is our goal units of decameters. Step 3 is to now put in the values for the right side of the chart. As a reminder, the difference we had was a factor of 10 between meters and decameters. So what we're going to do is give the value that's higher up on the list, on the right, a value of 1. So higher up as in higher up over here. And the lower units, they'll receive the factor that we determined previously, which was 10. Our final step is going to be calculations. The values we have in the numerator we're going to multiply with one another. So that gives us this value, and then whatever's in the denominator we divide. So when we do that, it gets us this value. And finally, our units are going to be whatever's left when we cancel out the opposing sides of this table. So we're left with decameters, and our final answer is going to be 5.26 decameters in 52.6 meters. So here's another problem going from meters to centimeters. First step is to identify the 2 units, which is base and centimeters. And again, base is no prefix. The difference between these units is a factor of 2 tens. So to figure out our factor value, we will multiply these tens with each other. Notice we are not multiplying 2 times 10. It's going to be 10 times 10. So this gets us 100, and our original units are 87 meters. The other side of the table will have the same units, so meters, and our goal unit is centimeters. Next, we'll put in the values for the right side of the table. Our higher units are going to be the base, so the meters. That gets the 1. And then the lower units is centi, so that's going to receive the 100. Now we calculate. The values up top we multiply, which gets us this value, and we divide by the lower value. And finally, we determine the units, in which we're left with centimeters. So our final answer is 8,700 centimeters, is equivalent to 87 meters. The next one asks us to convert from millimeters to kilometers. So as before, We determine the 2 units. We determine our factor. So it will be 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which gives us a million. Our original units are in millimeters, which means units on the bottom will also be in the units of millimeters, and our goal is the units of kilometers. Our higher units are kilometers, so that gets the 1. The lower units are millimeters, so that gets the million. So down here. We multiply the top values together. We divide by the lower value, which gets us 5 times 10 to the negative 6. And then we cancel out the opposing units that are the same on both sides. And then we're left with the units of kilometers. A final point I'd like to make is that you might have a larger version of this conversion chart to memorize. It might look like this. It also contains the units of mega, micro, nano, and pico. And if you don't recognize these units, you can just end the video over here. So for these units, the difference between it and the units above/below it is not 10, but a factor of 1,000. So you need to keep that in mind. So for example, if we had this problem that's asking us to convert from picograms to decigrams, we will identify the 2 units, so our starting, the pico, and then our goal units, which is deci. And we calculate for this factor number. And we have to keep in mind that, again, the difference in these units down below is 1,000, not 10. So we'll do 10 times 10 times 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000. Which gets us this value, and other than this, the rest of the steps are going to be the same. By the end of it, our answer, the answer you should be getting, is 5.3 times 10 to the 11 in the units of picograms. If you like today's video, please like, share, and subscribe. I also provide tutoring services online. You can see the link to that down below. Have a good rest of your day, guys.